Hi guys, welcome back to Finpact. Today I'm here with the CEO of the Raiinmaker app, and his name is JD Serafin. So JD, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your app and how it uses AI?
Yes, thanks for having me. So as you said, I am the CEO founder of Raiinmaker, Web3 and decentralized AI technology company. Came in the crypto space back in 2017. Really excited about exploring how we could track the value that was being created by users. First, focused on social media and the value that we all create in the social media realm with our influence. We developed an algorithm called Proof of Influence. And then more recently, we developed first the Raiinmaker network protocol, which is a scalable Web3 and decentralized AI network, which on top of it has the Raiinmaker AI application, where users are generating art, they're training stable diffusion models through data labeling and fine tuning, those same models that the community is generating art with, and they're also running a mobile DePIN validator node. So that's all running live right now, Google Play, iOS. 70,000 plus downloads, and a lot of amazing traction happening on the product side there. But again, I think taking the same initial thesis of what inspired me to come, build in this space, coming from the world of entertainment where I spent most of my career, and seeing what is the value that each of us represents in the digital world, our relationships, our interactions, and I feel like right now, big tech has obviously been making huge fortunes off of our data and off of those interactions, which again, we all got products to use. And I think there's always a trade-off. But I think what Web3 and cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies look to do is to rewire. To distribute the value in new ways. And to, so what we do with Raiinmaker and Raiinmaker with two eyes. So the two eyes representing that economic value of that peer-to-peer connection. And what we're looking to do now with AI is I feel like the marriage of AI and Web3 is this perfect union, potential union.
Yeah.
It's perfect timing, perfect place. Now it could be, I think it could still empower us or enslave us, and I think there's a lot of choices to be made on how we move down this path. But our focus is, how do we quantify the value that each individual user is contributing to AI? Both with the Raiinmaker app.
How do you quantify what the value a user has, and how does that sort of integrate into the protocol and the app?
So I think at the protocol level, my CTO is former Disney. He built Disney's private blockchain in 2015. He built another protocol after that. And I approached him a few years ago and I said, look, I have a vision for a network that I want to build where the center of the architecture is the individual user. And what we're most focused on is their unique identity, behavior / data, and then plugging that into AI powered smart contracts that are customized based on what is the most valuable, what is the most valuable and least valuable data or behavior that's being tracked for that particular application.
So in the case like an IP address, each person will be allocated a specific ID, and using that ID, you can see how they, is that, so am I getting it right? Or
kind of, but it's more, you would think of similar to how wallets and it's more decentralized digital identity, but it's running on our protocol, and it doesn't require the same level of crypto sophistication that most of the existing, EVM based chains require. And we do interoperate with those chains. We are integrated with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Base, BNB chain for the infrastructure side. So the network itself is what you would call a federated hybrid blockchain architecture. So I know that sounds like a lot of words, but federated meaning the finalization of consensus is actually happening with data being hashed onto those public chains. So we inherit the security of the Bitcoin network and other networks. Hybrid meaning there's both permissionless and permissioned layers on the network. The permission layers are where that private business data, especially around AI models that are being trained with, business data or data from the customer or from the fan or the user, are living on that permission layer of our network, so that as that data is flowing into the smart contracts and then being, in some cases where an application needs it, it's being plugged into the model itself. The smart contract is tracking, okay, what is the data that, that Anika has contributed to this specific model. So in the case of the app, just to kind of bring it back to the original question, which was more on the application layer,
Yeah.
we built an application to prove this model out and to really hone and fine tune the methodology around, okay, Anika goes in, she generates a piece of art with this stable diffusion model. Now
Yeah.
she goes and labels that same picture so that now when she resubmits that data, the labels with the picture back to the model, it can refine the model's ability to understand, oh, Anika said a dog with a hat, but it's a dog and he's wearing a helmet. So you label the helmet, you label the dog, you label the sky, you label the whatever's in the picture, so that the model can begin to discern what it's actually generating. And hopefully over time, with the right feedback, it could generate a higher quality image based on what the user is actually prompting it to generate. Now,
So
we're
it's
not just like
learning. It's learning in a way as time goes on, as you add the labels, the helmet, and it's able to understand what I'm envisaging.
well, it's better. It's able to better understand what you're trying to prompt it to generate. So if you're
Right.
saying this is what I want, obviously as a prompter, you also can get better about learning how to get better quality out of the model. But that's where adding that human feedback, and it's not really just about stable diffusion. It's more about how do we build out a methodology that's
Yeah.
tracking the value that each individual user is contributing to train AI.
So
And I
it's
think training AI
specifically
with our
training it based on the individual's preferences. Kind of like, if you're talking to ChatGPT as one perspective and then someone else comes in and it learns what you want based on your commands and instructions, and over time it picks up that style.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's understanding, especially when we get into some of the larger enterprise use cases that we're building that will roll out this year with in sports and entertainment and gaming. So the network vision is really scalable Web3 and decentralized AI with a focus on mass adoption use cases. So
So
sports, gaming,
just touching
entertainment.
on that, you've just jumped into my next question. So while we're here, so can you elaborate a bit more about the mass adoption use cases? I believe sports and gaming were some of the sectors that you guys are aiming for. Let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're working with a handful of pro sports teams that are actually building a pilot or working with us on a pilot for the next product that's rolling out on the network, which is called FanQuest. And
Yeah.
on the user level, the individual fan, similar to Raiinmaker now, but even more uh, simplified or seamless. The fan has just got a simple, what feels like a loyalty engagement app where they're completing various quests, kind of similar to what you see on Zelia or Galaxy or these platforms we're
Yeah.
familiar with in the world of crypto. But
Mm-hmm.
in the back end, what's actually running it is a fully robust, Web3 and decentralized AI infrastructure that's
Yeah.
taking the data from those fans' behavior and it's running, utilizing the Raiinmaker network protocol. It's doing what we're talking about, which is tracking the value of that user's behavior as it relates to the most, valuable or least valuable behavior inside of that team's ecosystem. And then it's
Right.
plugging the data into training the models. And we're calculating the value that's being generated by each individual fan. And that's just that's one major use case that we're driving on. But we also have, again, in the world of gaming, taking that similar thought process, but applying it in a very different way, not just our own products. So like FanQuest is something that we've actually incubated and developed internally.
Mm-hmm.
But we're now rolling it out with big partners. On the gaming side, we have some other third parties that have games that they're developing, using our protocol for the infrastructure to support NFT minting, token creation, decentralized digital identity, AI powered smart contracts, all
Mm-hmm.
of that running on a super scalable, efficient, federated blockchain that is Raiinmaker.
So if I was a sports fan, I'm not, but my fiance is. So if I was a avid team fan of he's an Australian Football League fan and he likes AFL. So if he wanted to generate an AI generated artwork piece, could he do that by instructing the Rainmaker app within the sports sort of adoption side? How
No,
would
so
that
so
work?
so there's two separate things there. So the Raiinmaker AI app is just focused purely on being like an AI super app for users that are generating art, they're training models, they're running a node, they're
Yeah.
mining crypto when they're doing all of that. They're mining Coin, which is the native token of the Raiinmaker ecosystem. But they're also like right now there's quests running on the Raiinmaker app where there's $1,000 in Bitcoin where users are actually mining real Bitcoin by training AI. So there's that kind of stuff happening on the Raiinmaker app side. The sports stuff are actually like, those are custom enterprise applications that we're developing on the network in partnership with those major teams, which, we'll announce the first one, I think, pretty soon here. And we've got 6 others that are all in the pipeline that are building. So that would be more like, once we get to the level of hopefully one of the teams he likes, or the league that he's following, actually gets on the system, then he would be able to join, FanQuest, and be able to do some things that he might already be doing and be rewarded for it, or engage in other things that might be valuable to the team, where it's like, hey, now you get an exclusive, you get to go on the field before the game, or you get to go to, some special match, or you get these other
special
perks.
access, special features that they get by
by leveling up inside of a system. And obviously there's layers of stuff that we're doing there that I don't want to reveal all of it, but that's the general direction of it. And so
a little bit of a play to earn element there.
There is, except for, again, I think we're doing on the sports side, especially right now, is really everything Web3 and decentralized AI is just running under the hood. And for the individual fan, they just have like a simple, fun engagement experience. It's not about, you're, like, just like any loyalty program, there's that incentive of like, hey, I'm leveling up, I get certain number of points, I get a buy one get one free for a beer at the game, or a hot dog, or 30% off merch, or a certain amount off tickets or free tickets, and this kind of stuff that are those incentives that drive the behavior. But there is, like, of course, some of that philosophy is there, but I don't think we're leading with that foot relative to how we're positioning it from a market perspective for that product. Now, Raiinmaker, it's like we're kind of going with the train to earn. So it's this idea of training AI and earning crypto. We've done stuff with create to earn before, and that was kind of the focus, especially in the earlier iterations of the product that were more social media focused. But yeah, hopefully that
that really clarified it. Thank you for that. And you touched upon how the protocol has the security of Bitcoin. So how did you integrate Bitcoin security within your sort of Web3 AI architecture?
So the federated nature of the network architecture itself is, as I mentioned, there's permissioned and permissionless layers. So the first layer of the network is what we call the user action layer. So Anika is on the Raiinmaker app. She logs in, she creates a piece of art, she labels it, trains the model with it. All of those actions, without you having any technical knowledge, are all being signed on chain with your cryptographic keys that are on your smartphone device. So basically, your cryptographic key pair is like signing that on the user action layer on Raiinmaker app's instance that's running on the protocol. Then those signed actions are actually bundled into blocks that are then rolled up into what we call the enterprise application layer, which is the permissioned layer in the middle of the network. So imagine that's where the smart contracts live, the dedicated AI models are living there. So your actions are being rolled up into the smart contracts, and data rolled up into the model, or the models that are being trained, with your feedback. And then there's a computation that's run that's like, Anika did these actions, so it's worth this much crypto, this much coin, right? So then those computations are finally rolled up to what we call the network validation layer. And those validators are essentially looking at the smart contract, verifying that all the computation was done correctly and it was real and there was nothing faked, nobody cheated it. And then they sign the final proof onto a public chain like Bitcoin. So it's essentially, by doing that hash, there's an immutable hash from Anika did this initial action, which she trained AI with this data, or this, with this feedback, and all the way from those hashes signed on chain with your own keys, all the way to a hash on the Bitcoin network. There's an unbroken string of trust. And what it allows our network to do is to be super cheap, super fast, super modular, super flexible in terms of how we, do what we do for the application itself that's running on the network. But it doesn't, it allows us to do things that other networks in terms of performance can't do without sacrificing security, because you have, in the end, a hash on the Bitcoin network that, to try to change that, again, that it's like, basically, you'd have to have like a GDP of the United States or something to, to brute force the Bitcoin network. And even then, it's not a guarantee you'll do it. So I think, that's how we think about it. We are hashing not just a Bitcoin, but multiple layer one blockchains on purpose, just for redundancy. And also sometimes Bitcoin, depending on the time of day, time of year, it can be more expensive. So it allows us to, from a cost perspective, kind of mitigate that. We're also excited about, other networks like Base, and obviously ETH has got a strong legacy of reliability and performance. So and I'm more of like I want to say open asset, open architecture. I believe in a multi-chain future where different chains have specializations. And that's even part of why we built the network we built in the way we did, because from my perspective, it was like there's a ton of EVM chains that are doing things in an amazing way, that if we want to leverage those, which we are even for our token, that'll be trading on dexes and sexes and farming pools and leveraging all of that amazing like crypto DeFi architecture that's out there. I wanted to focus on how could we bring something unique to the table with the way that we built our network, while still leveraging, networks like Bitcoin for security.
And their ecosystems where people can then access yours. Yes. So you touched upon the native token Coin. So where can users buy it? And how does it integrate into the protocol and the app?
So right now there's a public sale. The first public IDO is actually happening on Tencent within this short window of time. I'm not sure when this interview will air, but this week that we're recording. Okay, nice. So yeah. So hopefully by the time you hear this, it's not over, but it probably will be over. But the good news is there's another IDO also launching on pools this week. And then we have some even bigger launch pads, not necessarily bigger than Tencent, but we have some other high profile launch pads that are coming, that we haven't announced yet this month. And I think the idea is to roll out a series of public sales that then lead to the actual listing of the token on, DEX and centralized exchange. On the network side,
I hope you guys are listening. I'm going to put all the details in the description box, but everyone hear that. That's the key dates that you need to keep an eye out for. Yes, continue.
No, that's good. And we'll make sure to feed the latest updates to Anika so she can keep you guys in the loop about where to get Coin and when it comes down the track later this month. But the network itself and the way we architected it is anybody can be a validator on the network. So right now there's 150,000 plus nodes that are running in testnet, and that's mobile devices. So on the Raiinmaker app, literally all you do is sign a terms of service, and the code to run a validator node is deployed on your smartphone device. So when you use the Raiinmaker application, it's actually looking at the network and saying, are there blocks that I need to sign and verify, and then push to the network, the master node to notarize onto one of these public chains. So all that is happening in the background, and the user needs no special equipment, no technical expertise, doesn't even need to stake a bunch of coin at the beginning. Now, the thing that matters though to understand for your listeners is the people who earn the most coin are going to be the ones who stake the most and they burn the most. And when people burn coin, they actually are adding a permanent multiplier to their node. So the people who understand this early and get in and not only buy coin, but start to burn it, like they're going to be earning, every 29 days, our network looks at all of the activity across the entire network. It looks at a variety of different variables to determine how many new coin are going to be minted into circulation. Those new coin natively on our protocol first. And then the validators who have that as a native coin balance are then able to either stake it, burn it, or they can withdraw it. When they withdraw it, they're actually minting new tokens on the external, whether it's Base or we're going to have multiple chains. But right now we're starting with Base because we feel like there's a lot going on with that ecosystem, and we're excited about, jumping into the fray with all the meme coin madness and just diving right in there. But the ability for the validators to be able to burn, stake, all of that, the native coin, the amount that they're going to get every 29 and a half days is tied directly to how much do they have staked, how much have they burned, all of these variables, how many blocks is their validator node running all the time? Is it signing all the blocks that it can sign? Have they verified their identity, which is something we feel is important. Not that we're trying to pass KYC information to like government agencies, because that's not our job, but rather that there's a proof on chain that we know that your node is actually belongs to a real human. And there's not somebody who spun up, a network of bots to try to outcompete, other real humans that are actually good actors. So I think everything we looked at was always trying to say, how do we reward the individual human that is a good actor, that is choosing to hold their tokens, that is choosing to, not sell or not dump, how do we engineer a system that rewards those people the most and actually, I don't want to say punishes, but disincentivizes those that are going to do things that are not good for the network not good for the health of the network. And that's, the way that we approached every decision we made, which there was a lot of complex thought put into all of the entire validator reward system, the mining system, what governs the release of new tokens. So in terms of Coin, there's a ton of utility on the network side relative to the validators. And then even on the application layer with Raiinmaker, but then other products, there'll be, layers of utility. Right now on Raiinmaker app, in order to mine on these quests, like the one that has $1,000 of Bitcoin that's running in the app right now, the user has to have a certain amount of AI credits that they utilize to generate art that then allows them to compete in these quests. Those credits either have to be paid for with a subscription, or they could be topped up with Coin. So which Coin they can be earning while they're labeling, data. So there's some ability for them to keep going if they don't. Again, I'm always of the mindset that there has to be some entry point for those that are less fortunate, that might, just have not been born into a rich country, but they have a smartphone device and they want to dive into this global, decentralized AI and Web3 digital economy. I think it's incumbent on us as builders in the space to find ways to empower those people. And so everything we do, again, is to try to make it so that anyone can enter the game. Now,
I
people
really
who obviously are going
appreciate
to put
that.
more, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and
And
you
that,
know, I've been seeing so many countries that have unstable currencies are adopting crypto. The average person there holds more Bitcoin than they would their own country's currency. So yeah, I like that approach. When it comes to the Rainmaker app and the network protocol, how do you sort of seeing it positioned in the future to have this huge user base growth, maybe let's say, and also how do you think it will compete with the AI products that are popping in every 2 minutes?
well, I mean, look, I think there's a lot of amazing innovation that's happening out there with other AI protocols, and Morpheus is a really cool decentralized AI project that some of my friends are kind of the key leaders. But there's no centralized authority there, but some of the key kind of contributors or whatever. So I love what they're doing. We're kind of looking at other projects too and saying, well, how can we
Learning by
integrate?
doing. That's quite great. Yeah, I've seen that always works in economics. It's a concept. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think there's projects like that, projects like BitTensor, and we met with some of the subnets there and looking at how we can integrate and leverage the BitTensor ecosystem, which, has kind of got more of that like hardcore, like Bitcoin, tokenomics, scarcity driven philosophy behind it, which I kind of like. I kind of straddle the line. I'm like an abundance mindset person in general. So that's the only thing that sometimes me and some of the maxis will clash on a little bit. But it's all in good fun because I love Bitcoin, and honestly, it was the first, like many people, is the first asset, first thing that exposed me. But I think what we do differently with AI is, I think there's, again, coming back to what our protocol at the network level can do really well at scale, I think better than anything else out there, which is taking that immutable proof of identity, behavior / data and plugging that into AI powered smart contracts. It's super scalable, super fast, super economically efficient, but still have the security and hash power of the Bitcoin network behind it. I don't think there's another protocol on the planet that can touch that right now. And I know that to be true because there's a reason that I picked the CTO that I picked, and there's a reason that we built the network the way we built it. And I honestly, when we started doing it, I wasn't as focused on AI as the primary kind of focus of what we were doing. It was just over time as we designed it more, again, focused on the individual user and the immutable proof of their unique contribution, whether it be behavior or data, based contribution. And I was like, wait, if we look at these AI models and what they run on, the most valuable thing they run on is data. And the thing that honestly, to be able to show immutable proof of the quality of the data that was contributed by a certain quality of human, or source,
Yes.
and we have an immutable proof in the form of an NFT on our network, which is not something that people are selling, like a picture of something, which again, nothing against that, but it's more focused on the utility side of what an NFT can do. And taking that immutable proof of at this exact moment in time, Anika submitted this data to, did I say your name? Is it Annika or Anika?
You could say either. Yeah, Annika, Anika, whatever you prefer. My parents call
Which
me
do you
Anika.
prefer?
I like Annika, but I
Annika.
don't
All right,
mind.
let's do Annika. So Annika submitted at this exact moment in time this data to train this model, and there's proof on chain, and all of that again over time creates a very rich tapestry
Yeah.
of the contributions of humans to basically curate the decentralized AI future that we're all, those of us that are on that side of the wall are working to build. And that's why it's like, I'm always about how do we work together? Because
Yeah.
right now, there's massive centralized players. I mean, Sam Altman is raising $7 trillion to build his like whatever GPU, empire that's going to power all the AI, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And then, but at the same time, all these centralized models that are being trained with all of our data. Again, if this empowers humanity, and I believe it does, I'm
Yeah.
one of those people. I don't buy into the dystopian, Terminator, or like, Skynet's going to destroy
I've
us
been
or whatever.
watching a
I'm not
lot of
saying
those
it's not possible.
movies.
Yeah.
Apparently I heard that, I don't know how true it is, but Sam Altman walks around with a backpack that if, shit goes down, then he can press a button and stop the AI. Is that true? I have no idea. I read that somewhere.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, if I see him with a backpack, maybe I'll try to grab it and see if I can push it just for fun. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get you. I was watching the Three Body Problem, which was about an alien invasion and they use AI and futuristic technology, and oh, it's been a rabbit hole since the AI revolution has started. But yeah, as you were saying, sorry.
No, well, I think just to kind of like bring it to the highest level that I think we have to start from when we're looking at all this, which is to me always has to have some sense of like, or some connection to a philosophical perspective about it. And I think there's an opportunity for humanity to be empowered in a way that we haven't been in generations, and I think you can look at each epoch of human history and the different technologies that
Yeah.
helped us to basically make these massive leaps. And
Hmm.
I think you look at, Web3 or cryptocurrency and blockchain and distributed systems, have matured at this really interesting moment. And then all of a sudden, AI surges ahead right at that same time, right after it. And I feel like they're merging in a way that could
Yeah.
power a whole new global economy that could help us to be protagonists in our own story and solve a lot of the problems that we've created for ourselves on this planet. And I
Yeah.
think that, again, it's not that it's going to be all like, butterflies and unicorns and fairy
Yeah.
dust. There's going to be like humanity already has a bill coming due, and there's going to be a lot of suffering that we can't avoid, unfortunately. And it's something that keeps me up at night with 3 kids and something that I've been aware of for most of my adult life. But I think that these technologies give
Mhm.
us the ability to empower people around the world in a
Yeah.
decentralized way to solve these problems. It's not about, the UN or, the big brother,
Just the
government coming to save people.
efficiencies, just the
Yeah.
efficiencies we're getting with them. Now that AI is here, I can't imagine my life without it. I can edit my YouTube videos with AI now. I can write up emails if I need to and get a second opinion or find out a quick itinerary for a trip just through AI. I mean, the use cases are unparalleled. And I do have the same view as you, but I do like the sci-fi movies that make it crazy because it's quite interesting. But hopefully that
Well,
doesn't
and it's still
happen.
possible. It's still
Yeah.
possible. I
Yeah.
don't think there's no guarantee that it will go the way that you and I might be holding the space that it's going to go. There's no guarantee of that. And so I think the only hope that we have that it does go down the track that empowers humanity versus the track that enslaves humanity. And I think it'll probably be some of both. I don't think it's going to be, oh, it's all this or it's all that.
Hmm.
But I personally am working to do what I can to create technology that hopefully plays some part in empowering humanity to some
Yeah.
greater measure. And I think that's ultimately what drives me as a human individually. And it's really what drives Raiinmaker as a company, more than
Yeah.
anything else. Like, that's the most important thing that
Yeah.
even more than making money, more than driving value for the token or whatever. I mean, the token is just meant to be an expression of value that users are creating on the network or in our ecosystem. And I think what we did was we looked to engineer it, the whole thing, like from the ground up in terms of the economics and how it runs, so that we could look at, well, what is blockchain, or cryptocurrency or Web3, whatever you want to call it. What does it do, distributed systems, better than whatever the previous systems did? And it
Hmm.
looks at how value is created and how value is distributed, and
Yeah.
tying what we've built to real value being created by real users. And especially when it comes to training AI, now it's like, okay, we can incentivize the acceleration, the maturation, the growth, of a more decentralized expression of this technology.
Hmm. Hmm. It's really interesting. But yeah, probably right. That was a lot of food for thought. But I'll bring it on to the last question now because we're running out of time. But back to Rainmaker app and the protocol. So, what are the future goals, maybe developments you have in the pipeline in your roadmap that you could share with us. I know you might not be able to share, but as much as you can share, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. I think the validator infrastructure is being upgraded as we speak, and we expect the new versions of those nodes and that code to
Mhm.
go online here in the next, call it like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right around, just in conjunction with mainnet launching and
Hmm.
TGE in this kind of next month and a half.
Yeah.
We'll be upgrading the nodes to be full DePIN enabled. There's some, again, DePIN functionality there, but the
Hmm.
ability to do full parallelized, decentralized AI computation across the network. So if
Hmm.
we wanted to take, a movie or stable diffusion image and actually parallelize the rendering or computation and generation across the network, we could do that.
Hmm.
That's not necessarily where we're focused because I think there's a lot of good projects out there, whether it's IONET or Render or there's a bunch of them that are I think already have built like beautiful products that are well positioned in that particular lane. And for us, like I'm more focused on what does our protocol do really well that other projects I don't see like able as well positioned to do. And so it's more I think on the data side that I see a unique role for Raiinmaker.
Yeah.
So I think that there's the node side, there's the
Beautiful.
launch of mainnet is coming up. And as that happens, we have a testnet validator airdrop that's running now. So if people are not doing it, they should go to raiinmaker.com,
They
hit
can
the airdrop.
request. Yeah.
Yeah. Finish
Yeah.
the quest. You get the get in the airdrop. There's going to be, a more limited group of people that are allowed into that. And then we will launch another, larger airdrop on mainnet later this year.
Hmm.
So those are a couple milestone things coming up. And like I mentioned earlier, some larger enterprise partners that we're going to be announcing in the coming months, from the worlds of sports and
Yes.
gaming and entertainment.
Yes.
And those announcements will be rolling out as new applications go live on the network here in the coming months.
Amazing. That's a very exciting new pipeline. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on the channel. It's been really interesting talking about everything, and AI has been one of my key focuses on the channel. So, when I heard you're going to take this interview, I was ecstatic. So, thank you so much. And do you have anything else you want to say? All the information I will be putting in my description box for the viewers. So, that's all that, don't worry about that. But if you have any sort of things you want to add, before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I think just one parting thought that I would share.
Mhm.
I think we're at a unique crossroads as a species,
Yeah,
and we have a finite window of time to make an evolutionary leap. And I feel that the combination of, AI and blockchain technology and Web3 have the capability to empower us all in ways that we couldn't have imagined even 2 or 3 years ago. And
yeah,
so I implore all of your listeners and viewers to, go out there and fearlessly like grab the opportunity that exists right now individually, because I feel like collectively, when we all do that, that's how we actually create, a
yeah,
new world that's possible. And so, I implore your users to just, to carpe diem, as they say, and seize the
yeah,
day.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. No, wonderful parting thought. Thank you so much for coming on Finpact, and hopefully we can have you back on here soon.
I would love that. Thank you, Annika.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.